The art of being wise is the art of knowing what to overlook. Your opponents will often reveal their hand in what they choose to ignore. William James. Chapter 1. The Invisible Chains. Invisible chains. They bind you, not with iron, but with whispers. Power is drained, not seized. I will reveal how your influence vanishes unnoticed. A silent drain, an invisible leak. You are losing power, not in a thunderous clash, but through 1,000 tiny sips. Understood what most still refuse to see. He who desires to rule should endeavor to do it by craft rather than by force. This is not about winning shouting matches. It's about the slow, unnoticed erosion of your position, your influence. You think victory demands volume. That is where they want you. They tell you to win, you must be louder, dominate the conversation, present irrefutable facts. Crush dissent with logic. This is a lie, a smokescreen. The real battles are not fought with words. They are decided in silent exchanges, unspoken agreements, subtle shifts of control. You bleed power in plain sight and you don't even know it. Right now, you are leaking energy, giving away ground without a shot. Every time you feel compelled to justify, to explain, to defend, you surrender advantage. Your opponents, those who understand the game, are not looking for a debate. They wait for you to exhaust yourself, to reveal weaknesses, to step into their traps. They watch, they wait, they win. This is the invisible chain. It binds you, not with steel, but with your own desire for understanding, for approval. You believe in a level playing field. They exploit that belief. They don't engage with your points. They engage with your need to be heard. Think about your last argument. Were you truly arguing, or were you justifying? Were you stating your position, or begging for acceptance? When you explain yourself, you move from offense to defense. The moment they know you need their understanding, they have power. They see your eagerness as weakness. Watch what happens when you pour out your heart, detailing your reasons, your feelings. They nod, they listen, they offer vague assurances. Nothing changes, nothing improves. You gave them everything needed, a map of your vulnerabilities, a blueprint of your boundaries. You handed them the keys. The silent loser doesn't realize the war began long before the first word. They don't see strategic retreats, feigned ignorance, weaponized silence. This is not about being right. This is about control. Psychological warfare, waged in whispers and omissions. If you announce your intentions, people will dissect, critique, resist. They will prepare counter-arguments, build defenses. But if you quietly execute, if your actions speak, there is nothing to debate, nothing to oppose. The outcome is already set. Sun Tzu, the ancient master of strategy, understood this. All warfare is based on deception. He wasn't speaking only of battlefields. He spoke of every interaction where power is contested. Showing your hand, revealing your strategy, guarantees defeat. Keep them guessing, keep them in the dark. What Sun Tzu understood is that the most powerful moves are those unseen. The most devastating blows, unanticipated. When you are open, transparent, you are vulnerable. The silent victor operates in shadows, observing, calculating, positioning, long before the enemy realizes they are in a fight. You are losing arguments not because your points are weak, but because your approach is. You fight on their terms, in their arena, using their rules. You play chess, they play poker. You show cards, they bluff, they win. This constant leakage of power saps your confidence, erodes your self-worth. You become less decisive, more hesitant, easier to manipulate. You feel drained, not knowing why. Unheard, not realizing you forfeited your voice. But there are other insidious traps. Subtle ways they pick you apart, piece by piece, without you knowing. Traps disguised as common courtesy, as genuine concern, as innocent questions. What are these silent assassins of your authority? This is not about being a victim. This is about waking up to reality, recognizing the invisible chains that hold you back, understanding the silent language of defeat so you can learn victory. Nothing leaks, nothing drains, everything compounds. What they do not see, they cannot counter. What they do not hear, they cannot mock. But there's another subtle weapon they deploy, one that turns your own sense of justice against you. What is it? Chapter 2, The Explainer's Trap. The Explainer's Trap, a subtle weapon. They will lure you into justifying, clarifying, elaborating. This desperate need to be understood, it is your fatal flaw. The subtle weapon they deploy against you, the silent assassin of your authority, is the explainer's trap. It is the urgent need to justify, to elaborate, to clarify every statement you make. You feel a burning compulsion to ensure they understand your point, your reasoning, your perspective. This drive to explain, to gain their intellectual consent, is a sign of profound weakness they will exploit without mercy. Every time you explain yourself, you move from an offensive position to a defensive one. You surrender your solid ground. You offer up your internal logic, your thought process, your raw motivations on a silver platter. They don't need to fight you anymore. They just need to pick apart your explanation. They wait for you to flinch, to add a clause to soften your stance. Think about this. When you state a fact, a decision, an absolute truth, there is nothing for them to counter. It simply exists. But the moment you append because, you open a door, you invite them in, you beg for their agreement. And they will always find a flaw in your because, if it serves their agenda to undermine you. Here's how you disarm this trap. Speak with finality. State your position clearly, concisely, and then stop. Let the silence hang heavy. Let them fill it with their own assumptions, their own discomfort. Your words should be like stones dropped into water. Ripples appear, but the stone itself remains solid, unmoving. Do not elaborate. Do not qualify. Do not apologize for your truth. When you offer extensive explanations, you are signaling insecurity. You are telling them you doubt your own statements, that you need external validation to make them real. This is a vulnerability they can smell from a mile away. Napoleon Bonaparte, a master of command and psychological warfare, understood this deeply. He once declared, "A leader is a dealer in hope." What he understood is that your words, especially your directives, must carry an unshakable conviction, a sense of absolute certainty. Explanations erode that conviction, turning hope into doubt, turning a command into a request. He rarely justified his orders, demanding instead immediate, unquestioning execution. Watch what happens when you resist the urge to explain. You deliver a statement, a boundary, a condition, then you simply wait. The pressure shifts, it moves from you, the deliverer of the message, to them, the receiver. They are forced to react to your unyielding stance rather than dissect your reasoning. If you announce your plans with fanfare and detailed blueprints, people will dissect every detail, find every potential flaw, and often work to sabotage your efforts before they even begin. Your energy drains into explaining, defending, convincing. This is not how empires are built. This is how they crumble. But if you quietly execute, if you let your actions be the only explanation, there's nothing for them to counter. There's no argument to win. The results speak for themselves. You move with silent force, accumulating power and momentum while they are still trying to understand your first move. The moment you feel the itch to justify, to add more words, to paint a fuller picture, recognize it as a weakness. It is your ego demanding to be understood, not your will asserting its power. Your quest for understanding from others is a leash they will use to pull you around. This was a core tenet of Otto von Bismarck's approach to statecraft. He famously observed that laws are like sausages. It is better not to see them being made. Bismarck knew that the raw, messy process of justification, debate, and explanation stripped decisions of their authority. The final product, the unyielding law, was what commanded respect and obedience, not the arguments that went into its creation. Do not open your playbook. Do not reveal your method. Let them see only the finished chess move, not the calculations behind it. Your power lies in the mystery, in the unstated, in the absolute confidence of your pronouncements. This is how you reclaim your authority. The explainer's trap is subtle because it masquerades as helpfulness, as transparency, but it is a deadly form of self-sabotage. You are giving away your power piece by piece with every unnecessary word. You are teaching them where your soft spots are, where they can press for advantage. Eliminate the need for their approval. Eliminate the need for their comprehension. Your goal is not to be understood. Your goal is to command, to influence, to win. And winning happens when your words are sharp, few, and final. But there's another insidious leak, one that turns your past into a weapon against you. What is it? Chapter 3, The Emotional Leak. Emotional leaks. A weakness, a tell, a vulnerability your adversaries will exploit. Understand these silent betrayals and learn to wield them. They tell you to guard your words, to weigh every phrase. But the deepest leaks, the most damaging betrayals, come not from what you say, but from what you show. Your raw emotion, the flinch, the flush, the sudden silence. These are the tells, the open wounds your enemies will probe. Sigmund Freud understood that the unconscious mind often speaks louder than conscious mind often speaks louder than conscious words. He taught us that buried impulses, hidden fears, will always find an outlet, often through the very reactions you try to suppress. Every time you feel that surge of frustration, that sting of insult, that flash of anger, you are giving away critical intelligence. You are signaling weakness. You are exposing the pressure points, the buttons that can be pushed to break your composure. They see it, they bank it, they learn precisely how to dismantle your resolve, one engineered reaction at a time. An emotional reaction strips you of your objectivity. It clouds your judgment, pulling you away from the cold logic of the situation. You stop thinking clearly, strategically. Instead, you become reactive, operating from a place of instinct, a place easily manipulated. This is the moment you move from player to pawn. Think about the last time you saw someone lose their cool in an argument. The veins throbbing, the voice rising, the face contorting. Did you respect them in that moment? Did they seem to hold the upper hand? Or did you watch them, dissecting their unraveling, noting every weak spot they exposed? Your opponent isn't looking for a fair fight. They are looking for an advantage. They are watching for that flicker of doubt, that tremor of fear, that spark of irritation. These are not just signals, they are invitations. Invitations to press harder, to twist the knife, to exploit the opening you so carelessly provided. Each emotional display costs you. It drains your mental energy, diverts your focus, and makes you forget your primary objective. You become entangled in the emotional game, a game you're designed to lose if you play it on their terms. Nothing compounds faster than emotional debt. Here's how you shut down the leak. First, cultivate absolute stillness within. Your face should be a mask, your voice a monotone, your body language a fortress. Nothing moves without intent. Nothing betrays your true state. This is not about suppressing feelings. It is about controlling their outward expression. It's about denying them the data they crave. While you remain an enigma, you must become a master observer of their emotional landscape. Watch their eyes, their hands, the subtle shifts in their posture. Listen to the cracks in their voice, the sudden changes in their breathing. Every sign of irritation, every hint of insecurity, every surge of confidence. is a piece of their inner map waiting to be exploited. Once you understand their emotional triggers, you possess a potent weapon. You can gently, almost imperceptibly, nudge them towards frustration, towards fear, towards overconfidence. You don't react to their provocations. You become the one who engineers the provocation. You play them like an instrument, knowing which note will cause a discordant response. The fool answers every taunt. They defend their honor, justify their actions, and explain their feelings. They believe sincerity will earn them understanding. They wear their heart on their sleeve, making themselves an easy target for any predator skilled enough to see it. But the master remains unreadable. They absorb the insults, the provocations, the emotional bait without a flicker. They understand that a reaction is a concession. They offer nothing, betray nothing, and allow their opponent to exhaust themselves against an immovable wall. Silence and stillness are their most potent defenses. As Seneca, the great Stoic philosopher, reminded us, he who is brave is free. What he understood is that true freedom comes not from having your way, but from having control over your own mind, your own reactions. If your joy, your anger, your peace can be dictated by another's words or actions, then you are not free. You are a slave to their whims, a puppet on their strings. They cannot hurt you if you refuse to be hurt. They cannot anger you if you choose not to be angered. Your emotional state is your final unassailable territory. Defend it with the ferocity of a lioness protecting her cubs. It is the core of your power, the last bastion of your autonomy. Do not surrender it easily. The disciplined mind is impervious to attack. It does not bleed, it does not flinch, it does not break. It stands firm, observing the chaos, while others crumble under the weight of their own uncontrolled feelings. This is how you reclaim your power, by sealing the emotional leaks that drain you. This is how you transform vulnerability into an impenetrable shield. Chapter 4. The Shifting Sands. Shifting sands, a subtle game. When direct combat fails, the cunning move the ground beneath you. They invalidate your stance without proving you wrong. Your emotional leaks may be sealed, but external forces destabilize your position. They do not attack your facts. They do not challenge your logic. They simply move the ground beneath your feet. This is the art of the shifting sands, a subtle game played by those who cannot win a direct fight. They invalidate your entire stance without proving you wrong. This tactic drains your energy, leaves you unheard and confused. You invest effort building a solid case. Then the argument itself changes. Goalposts shift, definitions morph. Your original point vanishes, replaced by a new, irrelevant battlefield. You are suddenly defensive. It is a slow, psychological bleed. Watch what happens when you present a clear solution. You lay out steps, costs, outcomes. They do not dispute facts. Instead, they pivot. But what about the long-term cultural impact? They ask. Or, have you considered the emotional well-being of everyone involved? The scope widens, becoming unmanageable, unquantifiable. Consider when you use a term like fairness. You define it, give examples. Your opponent nods, then later uses fairness to mean something entirely different. It conveniently undermines your argument. They hijack your language. They distort your intent. Your own words weaponize against you. Julius Caesar understood controlling the battlefield. He didn't allow enemies to dictate terms. He imposed his will, chose the ground, the time, the strategy. What he understood is that if you let opponents move the conflict to their advantage, you are already halfway to defeat. You lose the war before it begins. The first step is recognition. Spot the moment they change the subject. Notice when they redefine a word. See the instant they move goalposts, asking for more, demanding something new, or introducing a separate issue. These are not honest explorations. These are evasions, attempts to escape your strong position. Do not chase them down these rabbit holes. Do not engage with their new, manufactured terms. Your power lies in refusing to play their game. When they shift the sands, stand firm on your original ground. You must anchor yourself to the initial point of contention. Here's how you counter this. When they pivot, calmly bring them back. That's interesting. You might say, but we were discussing X. Are you conceding X, or shall we return to it? Or, when I said efficient, I meant Y. Are you now suggesting Z, or are we still talking Y? Redirect the conversation to its original framework. You can also call out the maneuver without aggression. It seems we've moved from budget to philosophical principles. Which topic would you prefer to resolve first? This forces them to acknowledge evasion. It puts the burden of returning to the point back on them. You expose their tactic without losing composure. Most people, caught in the moment, will chase the shifting sands. They will answer every new tangential question. They will defend against every redefined term. They will exhaust themselves on a dozen battlefields, winning none, bleeding mental energy. They become lost in the opponent's labyrinth. But if you quietly refuse to leave the original battleground, if you consistently pull the discussion back to its core, there's nothing for them to fight. Their tactic relies on your willingness to be pulled off course. Deny them that, their strategy collapses. Your stillness becomes a weapon, a quiet force, denying them momentum. Miyamoto Musashi, the sword saint, taught mastering the way of strategy. This meant maintaining one's own stance and timing, refusing to be drawn into the opponent's rhythm. He wrote, "Do nothing which is of no use. Every wasted movement, every unnecessary deflection drains focus and opens you to attack. Stay on point. Do not allow others to define your reality. Do not allow them to dictate the terms of engagement. Your clarity, your focus, your unwavering adherence to the truth of the original argument is your shield. It is your sword. It is the unmovable object against their force. Fail to do this, and you will find yourself in endless, unwinnable arguments. You will debate ghosts. You will fight shadows. You will walk away feeling manipulated, confused, and drained. You will never understand how your solid arguments evaporated. They will have stolen your power, one subtle shift at a time. But the battlefield of influence extends beyond verbal sparring. There are also those who weaponize silence, not just to avoid, but to control. What is the true cost of their quiet judgment, and how do you disarm a foe who refuses to speak? Chapter 5. The weapon of stillness. Silence, a powerful weapon. They say nothing, yet force your confession. Observe how stillness unravels even the most confident, revealing their deepest fears. The true weapon, often overlooked, is stillness. It is the tactical deployment of silence, a vacuum designed to suck the air from your lungs and the words from your throat. When they refuse to engage, when they simply observe, they force you to fill the void, to over-explain, to justify. This is not disinterest. It is a calculated pressure point designed to expose your anxieties and your desperate need for validation. You speak into their silence, offering more information than is wise, revealing your hand without them ever showing theirs. Watch what happens when someone powerful simply stares, their face unreadable, their lips sealed. You will feel an almost irresistible urge to talk, to break the tension, to offer a concession or an apology you do not owe. Your own discomfort becomes their tool. They do not need to say a word to make you feel as if you are losing, as if your arguments are crumbling under the weight of their silent judgment. Every extra sentence you utter, every nervous laugh, every attempt to solicit their response drains your authority. This is why mastery over your own tongue is paramount. When faced with an opponent's silence, you must meet it with an even deeper stillness. Do not rush to explain, do not panic, and offer more details. Let the silence hang. Let the pressure build. Let them wonder what you are thinking, what cards you hold. The person who speaks first, who breaks the quiet, is often the one who gives away the most, the one who cracks under the invisible weight. What Lao Tzu understood is that the greatest power often lies in non-action, in the unmanifested. He spoke of the usefulness of emptiness, how a vessel is valuable not for its clay walls, but for the empty space within. In an argument, your silent mind, your unexpressed thoughts, become that empty space, a source of potential and unrevealed strength. When you hold back your words, you force your opponent to guess, to project their own fears and assumptions onto your quiet demeanor. Here's how you reclaim that ground. When confronted by a silent adversary, do not react. Keep your gaze steady, your posture relaxed. Offer only what is necessary, then fall silent yourself. Let the other person experience the discomfort. Let them be the one to break. If they want answers, they will eventually have to ask specific questions, forcing them to reveal their own agenda and their own blind spots. You wait, you listen, you learn. Think about how many times you have lost an argument, not because your points were weak, but because you felt obligated to defend every single nuance. You felt you had to win them over with sheer volume. This is a common trap. The verbose debater exhausts themselves, revealing every weakness, every doubt. But the quiet strategist conserves energy, waiting for the precise moment to deliver a single devastating blow. They speak little, but when they do, their words carry weight. Marcus Aurelius famously observed, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This isn't just a philosophy, it's a battle plan. He understood that the external world, including another person's silence, cannot disturb you unless you allow it to penetrate your inner fortress. Your internal state, your resolve not to flinch, is your impenetrable shield. If you announce every move, if you declare every intention, if you explain every decision, people will always find a way to undermine you, to prepare a counter-strategy. They will see your thought process, your vulnerabilities. But if you quietly execute, if you hold your counsel, if you move with deliberate, unspoken purpose, there is nothing for them to fight against. There is only the sudden, undeniable reality of your actions. The weapon of stillness is a double-edged sword. It can be used against you or wielded by you. It reveals who is truly in control, who has the emotional discipline to wait, to observe, to let the other side unravel themselves. The battlefield of influence is often won not by the loudest voice, but by the calmest presence, the one whose silence speaks volumes, the one who refuses to give away their power for free. Chapter 6, The Audience Verdict. The verdict, a dangerous pursuit. To court the crowd's approval is to betray your own strength. We shall dissect this weakness and the art of its exploitation. The moment you seek outside agreement, you give away that power. This is the insidious trap of the audience's verdict. You begin to argue not for truth, not for your core position, but for approval. You glance around, you adjust your pitch, you soften your stance, all to win over silent observers. This shift is a surrender, a public admission that your internal conviction is not strong enough to stand alone. What happens when you chase the crowd's nod? Your position dilutes. It morphs into something palatable, something that offends no one, but also convinces no one. You become a politician, not a commander. Every subtle adjustment to appease an imagined jury erodes your credibility. They see you flinching, they see you begging for validation, and in that moment your arguments, no matter how sound, lose their teeth. You are no longer arguing, you are campaigning. Watch what happens when someone, initially firm, starts to play to the room. Their voice changes, their eye contact darts from their opponent to onlookers. They start using phrases like, "Wouldn't you agree?" or "Most people would understand." They are not addressing the argument, they are polling the bystanders. The moment they need external agreement to bolster their point, they have revealed their internal weakness, their lack of true conviction. Here's how you exploit this. Maintain your ironclad position. Speak as if no one else is in the room but you and your opponent. Let them flail. Let them court the observers. Let them dilute their truth for a fleeting nod. Every time they appeal to the crowd, they expose their fear of standing alone, their desperate need for external validation. You do not engage with their performance, you engage with their argument or lack thereof. If you announce your position and then immediately scan the faces around you, people will see your insecurity, they will sense your need for their approval, and they will use it against you. But if you quietly state your case with unwavering conviction, looking only at the one you are addressing, there's nothing for them to manipulate. Your certainty becomes a weapon. It forces them to confront your words, not your neediness. Socrates himself refused to compromise his pursuit of truth, even when facing a jury and the threat of death. He famously declared, "The unexamined life is not worth living," choosing his principles over popular opinion or personal safety. What he understood is that true wisdom and conviction are internal states. They do not bend to the whims of the crowd. To seek external validation for your beliefs is to abandon the core of your own intellect. Think about the quiet power of someone who doesn't need to be liked to be right. They stand firm. They accept that not everyone will agree, and they don't care. This is terrifying to those who rely on social proof. They are used to people backing down under pressure, adjusting their sails to catch the prevailing wind. When you refuse to do this, you become an immovable object, a force they cannot understand or control. This is why the moment you begin to explain yourself to an audience, rather than to the person you are actually engaging, you have already lost. You've expanded the battlefield, invited more judges, and opened yourself up to more points of attack. Your energy fragments, your focus scatters, and your core message becomes diluted, watered down by the need to please every potential ear. The art of silent observation is key here. Let them speak, let them perform, let them dance for the crowd. Every unnecessary word they utter, every glance they throw to an imagined audience, every attempt to gather external allies is a drain on their energy and a revelation of their true motives. They are not arguing, they are campaigning. You are simply watching them unravel. Aristotle taught that persuasion is achieved through logos, logic and reason, and ethos, the speaker's credibility. He understood that true influence comes from the strength of your argument and your character, not from pandering to the emotions of an audience, pathos. When you seek the audience's verdict, you betray your logos by bending your truth, and you diminish your ethos by revealing your insecurity. Therefore, do not let your arguments be judged by an unreliable jury. Their opinions are transient, their understanding often superficial. Your position must be rooted in something deeper, something impervious to external pressure. If you are truly convinced, if your foundation is solid, then the murmurs of the crowd become irrelevant noise. You argue for truth, for power, for victory, nothing else. But there is another hidden weapon they wield against you, a silent, subtle infiltration into your own mind, one that makes you question your very purpose, your very worth, even when no one else is around. What is this? Insidious internal sabotage. Chapter 7, The Energy Siphon. Beware the silent thief. They don't seek victory in words, but in your exhaustion. Learn to identify these predators and fortify your inner defenses. The insidious internal sabotage you face is the energy siphon. It is not about the words spoken, but the quiet depletion you feel long after the conversation ends. They don't need to win the point, they only need to drain your reserves. Your mental clarity, your emotional stamina, your very will to act. These become the silent casualties of their attack. This siphon destroys you from the inside out. When you leave an interaction, feeling hollowed, agitated, or just profoundly tired, you have lost. You might have delivered the perfect comeback, presented irrefutable facts, or even forced them into silence. But if your spirit is diminished, they have succeeded. This exhaustion makes you question your convictions, clouds your judgment, and leaves you vulnerable to the next assault. Watch what happens when someone consistently draws you into pointless disputes. They don't seek resolution, they seek engagement. Each time you explain, each time you defend, Each time you chase their moving goalposts, you are pouring your life force into a bottomless pit. You spend hours replaying the conversation, rehearsing what you should have said, letting the negativity gnaw at you. That mental real estate, that precious focus, is gone forever. Here's how you shut down the siphon. You recognize that not every battle is worth fighting, and not every argument deserves your precious attention. The true victor is not the one who outtalks, but the one who preserves their internal power. Your energy is a finite resource, a currency more valuable than any witty retort. If you announce your boundaries, if you declare your refusal to engage, they will often double down, seeing it as an invitation to provoke you further. But if you quietly disengage, if you simply stop feeding their need for conflict, there's nothing for them to grab onto. Your silence becomes a wall, not an invitation. Your calm detachment drains them of their power. What Bruce Lee understood is that true strength lies in adaptability and economy of motion. He famously taught to empty your mind, be formless, shapeless like water. What he meant was to flow around obstacles, not to crash into them. Do not allow your opponent to dictate the terms of engagement or to trap you in a static, energy-draining struggle. When they try to pull you into their vortex, you simply are not there. Consider the sheer waste of mental power when you endlessly debate a point with someone committed to misunderstanding you. You present logic, they present emotion. You offer facts, they offer distortion. You are trying to build a fortress, and they are throwing sand. Every ounce of energy you expend trying to reason with the unreasonable is an ounce less for your own ambitions, your own growth. The strategic mind does not engage in such futile exchanges. They understand that not all battles are fought with words, but with presence, with silence, with the cold refusal to participate in their emotional theater. You conserve your focus. You protect your peace. You become an impenetrable fortress by simply not having vulnerable gates to attack. Consider the precision and focus of a master inventor. Nikola Tesla famously kept his mental laboratory pristine, fiercely guarding his thoughts from external interference. He understood that creative energy, like electrical current, must be channeled and protected from resistance. He knew that allowing his mind to be distracted by petty disputes or emotional dramas would short-circuit his true work. He didn't waste mental cycles on arguments. He directed them towards innovation. What he understood is that your intellect, your creativity, your drive, these are generators. They require clean, unobstructed pathways. When you allow an argument to siphon your energy, it is like drawing power from your main grid for a faulty, sparking appliance. The output diminishes, the system strains, and your core projects suffer. This is why the truly powerful rarely argue. They state their position, they act, and they move on. They do not seek validation in the back and forth, they find it in results. They understand that the moment you feel the subtle drain, the creeping exhaustion, you are already losing. Your internal resources are being plundered, not just by external forces, but by your own willingness to participate in their draining game. You must become a vigilant guardian of your own mental and emotional economy. Identify the energy siphons in your life, the people, the situations, the topics, and cut them off. It is a ruthless act of self-preservation. Your focus is your fortune. Your calm is your power. Do not let anyone steal either. The next time you feel that familiar tug, that desire to jump into the fray, ask yourself, is this an investment or is it a leak? Am I gaining clarity or am I merely bleeding out? Chapter 8. The Quiet Disregard. The silent knife is not the direct blow that truly weakens you, but the subtle turning away. Your impact, artfully dismissed, leaving you to chase shadows. You are not always losing an argument, because your points are directly refuted. Sometimes, a more insidious defeat happens. This is the quiet disregard, where your statement is acknowledged, perhaps even praised for its insight, but then gently, steadily nudged aside. It is reframed as secondary, a minor concession in the larger scheme, never truly addressing the core impact you intended. This tactic drains you because it forces you to fight a ghost. You try to pin down an objection that isn't openly stated. Your energy dissipates trying to defend a position that has not been attacked head-on, but merely rendered irrelevant by passive dismissal. It erodes your authority, making your crucial insights seem like trivial footnotes. Think about the time you laid out a critical concern in a team meeting or a personal discussion. You presented facts, showed the potential risks, or highlighted an obvious flaw in a plan. The other person nodded, maybe even said, "That's a valid point," or "I appreciate you bringing that up." But then, immediately after, they shifted the focus. They moved to a different aspect of the plan, emphasized unrelated benefits, or dismissed your concern as something we can deal with later. Your point was not disputed. It was simply absorbed and then excreted, leaving no trace on the actual direction of travel. You walked away, feeling heard, yet entirely unheeded. Your input was acknowledged as a sound, but ultimately inconsequential thought. This quiet sidestepping is a masterclass in passive aggression, designed to make you feel like your concerns are mere anxieties rather than strategic insights. Here's how you identify and disarm this silent weapon. When your critical point is met with a soft acknowledgement and then a pivot, do not re-explain, do not chase their distraction. Instead, watch their behavior. Observe how they move forward, acting as if your point was never made, or was a minor speed bump, not a structural crack. Your silence becomes your shield. Let them continue with their flawed plan, knowing you identified the weakness. Their eventual failure will speak louder than any argument you could have made. Your documented, disregarded point becomes a future weapon, evidence of their oversight. When they concede a minor point you made, do not celebrate. Understand that they are giving you a small token to distract from the larger issues you raised. Take the concession, then remain silent on the larger, unaddressed problems. Let them believe they have appeased you, while you internally catalog their true dismissal. Fools expend energy trying to force their points to be understood and accepted. The astute recognize that understanding is not always the goal, control is. If they control the frame, your points, no matter how brilliant, become subservient to their agenda. Your true power lies in refusing to play their game of selective hearing. Winston Churchill, a master of strategy and rhetoric, once declared, "Tact is the ability to tell someone to go to hell in such a way that they look forward to the trip." What he understood is that direct confrontation is often less effective than subtle manipulation of perception. He knew that you don't always need to win the argument in the open. Sometimes, the victory comes from planting a seed of doubt, allowing an opponent to think they've won, only to realize later they were led down a path of your choosing. Your quiet observation becomes your power. Abraham Lincoln, too, understood the futility of arguing with those determined not to hear. He once remarked, "No man has a good enough memory to be a successful liar." What Lincoln understood is that truth, even when quietly disregarded, has a way of revealing itself. You don't need to yell your truth. You simply need to state it, record it, and step back. Let their actions and the passage of time expose the wisdom of your unheeded words. They cannot lie to the consequences of their own choices forever. Your power is not in their immediate agreement, but in your unshakable conviction and the eventual vindication of your foresight. Do not seek their understanding when they are clearly unwilling to offer it. Seek their eventual accountability. The ultimate defeat is not in losing an argument, but in expending your essence fighting one that was never truly happening. The next time you find your words dissolving into the ether of quiet disregard, understand that it is a signal. It tells you exactly who you are dealing with. And knowing that, what is the most dangerous information they choose to ignore? Chapter 9, The Silent Victory. Their silence, your victory. They believe they silence you, but observe them. Their every tell, a secret weapon for your hand. It is you, not your words, but your silence, your capacity to observe without reaction. This is the final lesson they will teach you without knowing it. They believe they win by silencing you. By creating an echo chamber of their own design, they feel control. But control built on delusion is a fragile thing. It cracks under the weight of true, unyielding observation. You are not losing, you are learning. Every dismissive glance, every deflection, every quiet change in subject is a data point. It is a map to their weaknesses, their insecurities, their blind spots. They hand you the blueprint to their mind, asking only that you ignore it. Friedrich Nietzsche understood that power is not given, it is taken. He wrote, "That which does not kill us makes us stronger." What he understood is that every struggle, every perceived defeat, is an opportunity to forge a harder self, to observe their tactics, internalize their failures, and become something they cannot comprehend, let alone defeat. This is not about winning a debate. It is about winning a war. Without firing a shot, you cease to engage on their terms. You listen, you watch, you gather. You become the quiet architect of their eventual, inevitable self-sabotage. Watch what happens when you stop arguing back. When you meet their dismissiveness, not with more words, but with a still, knowing gaze. Their attempts to provoke, to dominate, to erase your presence fall flat. They hit a wall of impenetrable calm. This confuses them. They are wired for conflict, for the give and take of verbal sparring. When you remove yourself from that dynamic, when you refuse to play, their entire strategy collapses. They have no opponent, they only have themselves. The battlefield shifts from spoken words to unspoken intentions. You are no longer trying to change their mind. You are waiting for them to reveal their hand, their true motives, their fatal flaws, and they always do. Your silence becomes a weapon. It forces them to fill the void, to over-explain, to overcompensate. They expose more of themselves, more of their agenda, simply because they cannot stand the quiet. Think about how easy it is to bait someone who needs to be heard, how quickly they will hang themselves with their own words when you simply provide the rope. This is the trap you set, not with speech, but with the absence of it. Alexander the Great understood the importance of swift, decisive action, but only after meticulous observation and planning. He would often say, "I am not afraid of an army of lions led by a sheep. I am afraid of an army of sheep led by a lion." What he knew is that true leadership, true dominance, comes from understanding the terrain and the enemy, then striking where they least expect it or allowing them to collapse under their own weight. You become the unseen hand that subtly guides the conversation, the relationship, the entire interaction, not by asserting, but by observing and adjusting, not by debating, but by allowing their own flaws to create their downfall. This is how you reclaim power, not by winning their approval, not by forcing their agreement, but by making their inability to deal with your quiet strength their own problem. It is a burden they cannot bear. Internalize these signals. Feel them in your gut. Let them sharpen your focus. Let them drain all emotion from your response. See the world as a series of levers and their behavior as a guide to where those levers are. From now on, when they ignore you, when they dismiss you, when they attempt to silence you, do not resist. Observe, collect, and then, without a single word, dismantle them.